Hey everybody, it's me, V, the Sepia Scholar, and I'm back with another review for Bel-Air. This is season 1, episode 3, Yamakra. The last episode was really amazing, full of big questions, big themes, good acting, lots of drama, cliffhangers, and just Black people looking rich and looking good. I mean, overall, the show is just amazing, and I really like how they're building the story and developing the characters. I need to really look into who actually writes for this show, but like I said, the writing is amazing. The cinematography is on point. They know how to film for lovely melanated skin tones. Everybody's dressed appropriately for where they are, the scenes. It's all realistic. Even the bad guy looks like a super grimy dude from Philly for real. They're doing a good job so far. Let's hope they keep up the pace. And with all of that being said, we're gonna get into episode 3, Yamakra. As I stated, the last episode we see Will getting pulled away because they found some powder, that powder in his book bag, and he said it wasn't his. And Carlton and Connor both Carlton looking extra crazy because he knew that they were going to do something to Will, but he didn't know Connor was going to take it that far. So the episode starts off with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv interrogating Will. Carlton is still backing up Connor and deflecting. Carlton is lying with a straight face, talking about he wouldn't do it because Will is family. And if I was his parents, they know they damn child. They know that little angry ass man is lying. Will is making sure he says he had nothing to do with those drugs. As he stated in the last episode, he's an athlete. He just got on the basketball team. Why would he even do that? He offers to be drug tested, boy. Carlton needs to hope that they don't drug test his ass or he's going to be in trouble. Now it goes to Will waking up in the morning with his alarm. Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil are pulling up to the school and say if there's any foul play, there will be some serious consequences. Carlton is spooked. Carlton confronts Connor and he says they won't be able to pin it on him. Connor says they won't be able to pin it on him. Carlton says his parents will and he doesn't want to be implicated. He said his dad has uncovered 5 LAPD cover-ups and his mom is a black mom and you don't fuck with black moms. And I'm like, yes, Carlton, that's right. You tell him you ain't that damn whitewash. You got enough sense that mamas will get to the bottom of it, especially black ones. So Connor asks what to do and he says we have to free Will. I guess I wrote this note. I guess this is the road to make fake Don Cheadle more likable. And they're doing an amazing job trying to build his story arc where he's converting right from a little prep kid who's basically privileged and a little bit arrogant and definitely on that damn powder to somebody we actually like, right? Will is in in-school suspension and the teacher is super tough. They won't even let him doodle. Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil go to speak to the school leadership, and the school, they're like, how did you investigate it? And the school basically said they spoke to the security, the guy who pulled his book bag, and interviewed some students, and then they just closed the case. You see how that due process worked? They just wanted to get rid of that man. They just wanted to get rid of that man. That was no real damn investigation. So Aunt Viv and Phil asked if he watched the tapes because there are tons of cameras, and he said no. They screamed. They were like, "You didn't watch the fucking tapes?" The curse words are throwing me off because this is a really edgy show, and you're so used to the more clean cut NBC version of the show. So I might be enjoying the cussing a little bit too much, but it's definitely adding some edge to the show. He tells them it would take a week to review all those videotapes. So it's easier for you to kick the boy out of school and suspend him than actually give him due process and look at those videos. You see how the system works, y'all? It's a mess. They demand that they basically give him 24 hours to watch the tapes. And Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv bust into suspension and take Will out of there and say he's returning to class. He looked just as stunned as I was, and he was so surprised to find out that he isn't suspended pending the investigation. And he tells them with a straight face, he said, "You all move mountains." And Uncle Phil says, "Now it's time to start climbing them." I loved it. Epic moment. They're definitely acting. Y'all earn those NAACP Image Awards, Lord, because y'all are coming through. You can actually feel the love in the scene, and you can feel that he's building motivation to, adapt and thrive in this space. And all of this is shown in the good acting in that scene. And then they cue the inspirational music. So I almost, a little teardrop about to come in my eye, y'all. The CP scholar, I'm emotional a little bit, I be in my feelings. But either way, after that happens, Lisa comes and sits with Will out in the courtyard. And Lisa says Connor always gets away with everything, so don't expect justice. Then all of a sudden they bust out and they like, now here the white girls come up to him wishing him luck on the game, and he was feeling himself, and Lisa looks and says, "The thirst." And I was like like I said, I went to mostly PWIs in my life, and they definitely go after the athletes at those schools. I used to, some of my homegirls, I quote unquote homegirls, my pink homegirls used to always go after the dudes on the teams. They be going after that shit, but for some odd reason, us melanated sisters are the ones who are called gold diggers. But I'm not gonna get into that. So, like she said, the thirst. The other thing I thought about was I don't think Will or Carlton ever dated interracially in the original. And I think that was purposely done, maybe because of the time. Maybe they didn't want to go down that path. I don't know. They used to have extra bougie black girls, but I don't remember them dating any beautiful Caucasian folks on that show. So he's flirting with Lisa, and he tells her he wishes that she felt him too. Lisa says, "We're just friends, remember?" And he's like, "Yeah, just friends." He asks if she's coming to the game, and she says she has a swim meet and she might come afterwards. As she's playing around with him, she gets mustard on his blazer. He rubs it in and realizes that it is getting worse. And that's when he pulls out that inside out look, when he figures out there's amazing fabric on the inside of the blazer, and he flips it inside out. And I had my whole nostalgic Fresh Prince moment. I got very happy. And I absolutely adore the actor they chose to play Will. He's perfect. Just as goofy looking, scrawny, but with swag. Definitely, he is playing the hell out of this part, y'all. And so is Carlton, boy. Carlton get on my damn nerves. So everybody's playing their parts. Hillary walks in, congratulating the mom on helping Will. Mom asks, Aunt Viv asks Hillary about the menu for her get together for her sorors. They're doing some fundraising, and Mom thinks it will help her get more catering jobs. So Mom just wanted her to have a damn job. All of a sudden, they find out that a witness came forward and said he saw someone's messing with Will's bag, somebody from outside of the school. So he's cleared. And they decided not to look at the footage since they already had a culprit. So Will confronts Carlton about his game and figuring out that, yeah, you had to be the one that got me off because you knew what really happened. And Carlton lies as usual, looking like a damn rat. He tells him to take the W and move on. Lisa walks past and flirts, and Carlton is salty as usual. Fake Don Cheadle is salty as usual. Then it goes over to Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, who are like the coolest cats alive. They made Jeffrey. I mean, I guess he was a house manager in the original, but he was actually a butler. Here is more of a house manager. It's more like equals, whereas the original, you realize Jeffrey worked for Uncle Phil and he had a respect for him, but there was like so many running jokes that kind of made them not equal, even though they probably were the same age. So either way, they're playing pool, and Uncle Phil admits it felt good helping Will. And he was definitely impressed how Aunt Viv went in there and filleted the principal. So he says now that Will is cleared, he needs to focus on his base. He's running a campaign and he's attending a fraternity event. Jeffrey said, I would join you, but I'm going off to go enjoy some yoga. So they are making him like the original Jeffrey. It's my day off. I'm going to mind my damn business. So he's living his best life doing yoga. We go back and we see Carlton joining Lisa for her pregame ritual when I guess she eats a particular meal. And he apologizes and admits seeing her and Will together killed him on the inside. She says we were there for each other when we needed. I guess her mom passed and he was there for her and she still cares for him. And I'm like, this is dangerous because giving Carlton a little bit of hope is going to cause a spiral, but definitely going to build some intensity, right? Uncle Phil sees Will and gives Will The Alchemist. I still have to read that book. I need to read that book and do a review on it for myself for personal growth since so many people recommend that book, but they say it's about a boy who follows his heart. That's what Uncle Phil said. And he offers to take Will to the crawfish broil with his fraternity brothers. Phil gives him compliments that he's stepping up, but the joy is short-lived because he gets an ominous text to wear a vest. Then it goes to Aunt Viv and she's pulling flowers for her sorors from her garden. She assures Carlton that he is her first priority because, that's the son. He still gets upset when he finds out Will is coming to the crawfish boil and they have to basically volunteer for both kids are going to volunteer together. And Dad set it up that way so they can volunteer side by side. And when they get to the crawfish boil, the alphas were definitely representing. It was a nice vibe. He asked to speak with a reverend. He's basically trying to court the reverend to get his endorsement for his campaign. And the reverend completely blows him off. Some dude calls Uncle Phil Yamakra, and it turns out it's his nickname based on the small town that he's from. But everybody there is emphasizing that he forgot about his brothers. And he said, not a chance. He's just been busy with family and the campaign. Carlton is not excited to be there. And then they go back to the fundraising, and now the sisters, the sorors, are talking about the lupus fundraiser this year and how it's going to the next level. They ask Vivian how she does everything, and they remind her about when she was taking over the art world back in the day. And even during that, she's promoting Hillary the entire time, talking up her food, her catering, and bigging her up to her sisters. Phil, they go back to Phil, and Phil feels disconnected and Will ask what's the beef with him and the Reverend. And during that time, Carlton sees a chance to go talk to a guy who walks in who he calls the funeral king. He wants to intern with this dude who buries the stars, and he feels like that internship will help earn his way into Princeton. And Will was kind of surprised that Carlton said he wanted to be his own man and earn his actual way into Princeton. Back to Aunt Viv bragging about Hillary. They want her to pledge, but it's obvious Mom is embarrassed about her taking a gap year to cook. So when they asked her about it, she actually admits she dropped out of school and everybody got quiet. She said she got tired of the teachers and pulled a Kanye. And Mom asked why she's trying to sabotage all the jobs that she can get. Hillary asked her, why are you trying to control my narrative? She wants to be able to create her own opportunities. Now we're switching back to Alpha Land, where they're bragging about Riyama line stepping skills. The Reverend finally sits down to talk about what he calls the quote-unquote little run for DA and wants a good reason to endorse Uncle Phil. Back to Aunt Viv. Aunt Viv talks to her sisters about Hillary's failure to launch. She's wondering why she's okay with living in the pool house with no job. They tell her to shove her out of the nest. And a lady steps up and says that Hillary owes her an apology because of the PR blowback from her accusing that company, the one that she was on social media about, of being sexist and racist to 2 million followers. And Hillary answers to that. She says she's sorry that she doesn't feel sorry. And the lady who works for PR for that company says, your daughter is burning bridges you spent years building and does a grand exit. Like in the way that Viola Davis in that meme picks up her purse and exit stage left, she cleared it up out of there. Then we go back to Alpha Land again, and Carlton is talking up the funeral king while his dad is talking to the Reverend. The Reverend says he doesn't know what the people, that, Uncle Phil is disconnected and he doesn't know what the people go through because he's sitting behind a golden gate counting money. And Uncle Phil replies, you want me to apologize for being successful and doing better for my family. And he looks him dead in his eye, was like, we were your family too. Where have you been? Basically, he tells them there was a brother they helped who fell off his luck, and everybody pulled together, but Phil was nowhere to be found. And Uncle Phil admits he knew nothing about that. The Reverend says he would endorse the old Phil, but not this brother from Bel-Air. Uncle Phil exits, and Will asks why he didn't defend himself. Then they go back to the sisters watching the video of Hillary speaking about what happened with the interview and why she turned down the job. They support that she spoke her truth, and they all go over the times that they were done wrong based on color and just let stuff slide. They applaud this generation for standing up. But Aunt Viv brings up tact and good judgment too, especially when someone has done you a favor. So they're basically fighting over the direction of Hillary's life, and it's been 2 years since she's been out of school. I wanted to speak on this a little bit. Definitely, you have to walk a fine line when somebody has recommended you, but I would not take a job where I have to completely change myself. And on top of that, making those type of statements was extra bold because you can get into legal trouble nowadays, especially if you're a really, really high level influencer. So Hillary's kind of walking that line too. Okay, back to Carlton and Will. Will interrupts Carlton and bigs up Carlton at the same time to the funeral king. But as he's talking to the funeral king said, hey, I retired. And there's a guy left out. When they were taking out the tables and the chairs, Will and Carlton were speaking to another gentleman, and Carlton just kept complaining about how he didn't want to do this work and he didn't feel like being here. So he finds out that the dude that he thought did the internship was not actually running it anymore, but the other dude who he gave a bad impression to. So he basically is like, oops, I done messed up. While he's doing that, Will jumps on stage and shouts out Uncle Phil, and the brothers threaten to drag him down off the stage. He basically starts clowning and asks Uncle Phil what's the correct way to stroll. The brothers, of course, frat dudes ain't gonna pass up any chance to dang on stroll. The Kappa one is my favorite. They extra sexy with that shimmy, but we ain't gonna go there. But the Alpha brothers say, let's see it and hype him up. Uncle Phil takes off, and the Alpha brothers love it. The Reverends love it because it's basically showing that he's still there. And I took a good look at the Reverend. His old ass is grown and sexy. Oh Lord. I said, if I was going to date an older dude, that Reverend could get it. But, that's the sepia scholar being, not so damn scholarly. But they welcome him back into the fold, and the Reverend is at least willing to talk to him. They think Will is interesting, and Carlton is jealous that Will once again has won people over with his crazy personality. Okay, so we're back to Aunt Viv, and she's staring at a beautiful piece of art, if I might so say so myself. I guess that was hers, and she's reminiscing over her art career. Phil and Will come in strolling. They're still having a good time. And he's happy that the Reverend is at least willing to support, if not all the way endorse him. And Carlton is still pissed off and salty. Jeffrey strolling, I'm discovering his low-key fineness, and Aunt Viv's friend is there, and he shoot his shot, and I was like, okay, Jeffrey, I see you. And Carlton makes a slick-ass comment that he doesn't care about that internship anymore, and Aunt Viv says that her and Uncle Phil need to talk to Hillary ASAP about that failure to launch, right? So while they were doing all that, Will's stuff showed up from Philly. He goes through the boxes and he finds his lucky shoes, and he gives his shoes a pep talk because remember, it's game time. So Hillary is at the game and she's throwing shade at her mom about being controlled. And the first thought I thought about is, wow, they were supposed to take turns going to each person's game. But I'm wondering why they didn't have one set of people go to Will's game and the other one go to Carlton's game. It made no damn sense. They should have did shifts or something. Carlton's playing lacrosse because remember his game's at the same time. And he notices that nobody's there. So he's getting angry and in his head and his game is completely thrown off. At Will's game, Aunt Viv basically cuts the string on Hillary. And she wants her to prove that her passion is real and that she's willing to struggle for it. And Hillary accepts the challenge. But she asks her mom why, if her passion was so strong and willing to fight for, why did she walk away? So, think about it. Aunt Viv is there, and Hillary is actually a reflection of Aunt Viv when she was younger. So she's trying to keep her from making the mistakes. But is she leading her in the right direction? Because is she happy where she landed? We'll see. Lisa is sitting at Will's game, cheering Will on. Carlton is at his lacrosse game, messing up big time, cussing people out. That's an angry little man. Back at Will's basketball game, they fouled Will, and Tyler was about to fight. So him and Tyler are getting cool. And everybody's all caught up in the suspense of Will's game. And I told you I love this a high pressure game. I love to see that. Carlton messes up and Carlton gets ejected and he goes to cussing people out, hulking up on the coach. And he goes to the locker room and what he do? Oh, Lord, I wrote in the notes just like that. Oh, Lord, he go there and start snorting that damn powder and he is zooted. That's an old term, kids. And he walk over to Will's game like a super villain. And as he is watching, Will shoots the game-winning shot and he sees his parents and the school celebrating him. Now, and he's devastated. He walks out. Now in Philly, we see old thugged out ass Rashad hanging out, smoking, being a deadbeat. And one of his little lackeys come up and try to talk to him. He about to cut the damn lackey. The lackey's like, no, look at this. And he shows him a video of Will playing ball in Bel-Air and winning the game. And Rashad promptly says, I found you, you cocky motherfucker. And it fades to black. And that is the end of the show. Once again, a great episode. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's just edgy enough, but not too edgy that I couldn't let my kids watch it if I wanted to. And that was another amazing episode. Like I said, I really like where the story is going. All the characters are developing. Nothing seems inauthentic. Everything just makes sense to me. So, with that being said, I'm gonna say goodbye to you all. Love who loves you. May God bless you with everything that you want. And Sepia Scholar out. Like, share, comment, or subscribe.